24 hours ago, members of a North Iowa jury made their decision in a murder case that dates back 20 years. And their verdict, that Michael Cisneros is not guilty. It is a home that has been empty for years following a murder that happened more than 2 years ago. And that house is being torn down now. Neighbors and residents of Osage aren't surprised, though, to hear the news. It used to be the home where the Crooks family lived. Those living nearby say the house is a tragic reminder of Gretchen Crook's murder. But one local sheriff says while it may be a reminder of the bad, there are also good memories. Well, on a Friday night when many local teams are kicking off their fall football schedule, we are dealing with some storms. And tonight in Lake Mills, it is all about cleanup. A quick-moving, strong storm system moved through the area. It took down trees and even a concrete light pole. Those in the area say it felt like the storm only lasted a few minutes, but as you can see, it did do quite a bit of damage. Let's get right to our meteorologist, Josh Worster. He is in the Storm Team 3 Forecast Center for a look at our current conditions. Josh, you kind of talked about the cell that went through that area and really, as we saw, did cause some damage there. The Des Moines Register's, their editorial board recently endorsed your opponent, Jim Maurer, and called you a polarizing and ineffective member of Congress. What do you say to that description? Well, it's a story that really has people talking today, including in our newsroom, I would say. Well, the owner of Rumors Bar and Grill in Clear Lake wants to buy the Silver Boot Motel, but can't do it until the people staying in the rooms find new places to live. But the people staying there say they're now the tenants and have the same rights they would if they were in a regular apartment. Now the courts are getting involved. The purchase can't close until the tenants move, though. And tonight's event is all about fundraising for the GOP party locally and across the state. But it's also a chance to kind of get yourself noticed in Iowa, you could say. And for that, there's a lot of buzz around the keynote speaker tonight, and that is Senator Ted Cruz. Yeah, we're having a great time. We will be here throughout the 6 o'clock, a half hour. So make sure to come by and say hello. We have inflatables, we have animals, we have fair food, of course.
Yeah, and I can smell it from here.
Well, we are definitely a little bit tired. I think I might need some more sunscreen on my sunburned arms. But I want to tell you, Matt and Amy, that there are just a few things that you worry about as a RAGBRAI rider. I think maybe we can say that now. We've had a little bit of experience. You worry about the ride. You worry about the food you're going to eat, of course. You also worry about getting that shower in. And then you worry about where you're going to sleep at night. He actually completed the very first RAGBRAI, so I'm happy to talk with you, Tim. Thanks for joining me tonight.
We'll send it back to you in the studio.
Okay, thanks, Raquel. Take some pictures for us. All right, well, the Mower County Fair runs through Sunday, so you can still catch the action there. This is where all the action is, so it's a place to go. But as you can imagine, organizing 18,000 people, it is no small task. Now, Senator Hatch recently called your administration the most scandal-ridden administration in state history. What do you say to those comments?
Well, those are wild accusations. And
obviously, Iowa, we're being watched for 2016. We're always thinking ahead around here. Do you have any early predictions? I have to pick your brain on that one.
No, it's way too early. I'm focused on this election.
Well, let me ask you then about your plans for 2016. Are you going to make a run?
Maybe. We're thinking about it. My family and I are talking about it. We won't make a final decision probably till the spring of next year.
So it wasn't exactly a no. Well, Senator Paul will continue his travels through Iowa on Wednesday, where he will be making a morning stop in Urbandale. How about spending $9,000 to join Metropolitan? Now, the new social media site launched on Tuesday. It calls itself the Online Country Club for people with more money than time. No, $9,000, even if we split it, Matt, out of my budget. Not gonna happen.
Let's not bother.
Well, some new travel opportunities are taking off at the Rochester International Airport. On Tuesday, Delta will kick off their nonstop flights to Detroit and Atlanta. It'll be the first time in airport history that the nonstop option will take passengers to Atlanta. The first flights go from Rochester on September 2nd. That'll depart to Detroit at 6:30 a.m. and the first flight to Atlanta will be 2:30 p.m. Well, if you plan to fly over the Labor Day weekend or maybe drive, there are some safety tips that officials want you to follow. Those with MnDOT say it's important to check your route before you head out the door. They also say to use caution and pay attention during your trip. Another tip, it is important to tell somebody your route and what time you plan on arriving at your location. And if you plan on going out and celebrating the holiday weekend by drinking, you need to prepare ahead too. Make sure to designate a driver or set up a taxi cab. The Labor Day weekend will be a busy one. State Patrol troopers tell us there are more cars out on the roads than normal right now. And historically, this weekend can be one of the most dangerous. Welcome back to our election coverage 2014. I have with me political analyst Dr. Eric Shores. Talk a little Minnesota politics right now. Now, polls are still open in the state for a few more hours until 8 tonight. But this year's a little bit different for Minnesota. It might not matter as much having those polls open because there is the no excuse absentee voting this year. Tell me how you think that will impact the elections.
I think largely it will not have an impact.
I do want to talk about a race that I know is a story. That is District 27A between Shannon Savick and Peggy Bennett. Lots of outside money coming into this one. What does the outcome of this race mean for the election?
The Democrats at all costs want to hang on to the Senate and the House.
And to Mason City, where a state Senate race is getting a lot of attention beyond Iowa, and to Osage, where we are talking with a Democrat working to unseat a popular Republican incumbent in District 51. Then, of course, there are the congressional races, some of which could have a dramatic impact on the makeup of the U.S. Senate and what gets done in Washington. And longtime Congressman Steve King is being challenged by Boone native and military veteran Jim Maurer. While Maurer has gotten some campaign help from high-profile Democrats, this is a race that has seen King lead in most of the polls so far. All right, now I want to talk too about Iowa being one of few states that does the straight party voting. If you get into the polling booth, you can just pick Republican, Democrat, straight across. Now, how will that impact some of the races that we're looking at?
Sure. I think in a year like this, Sarah, what it does is it magnifies the momentum.
The state of Iowa is attracting the attention of the U.S. State Department. Today, the man leading the worldwide fight against human trafficking on behalf of the White House is in Iowa. And he tells me trafficking is a very real global problem, but there is hope.
She was being held in a garage in Irvine, California. And, she was a domestic servant for this family.
U.S. Ambassador Lucy DeBaca has seen and heard some incredible stories from around the world.
Nobody's going to keep her down. Exactly.
He is originally from Iowa, but now serves as a U.S. ambassador in the Office to Monitor and Combat Trafficking. It's a position that when he was first appointed by President Obama in 2009, many didn't really understand.
Well, one of the things that's changed so much over the last 5 years is I don't necessarily have to explain to everybody what I do. The human trafficking is, for good or ill now, I think it's something that people really are taking on board.
The ambassador is looking to combat modern slavery, and he sees the perfect partner in the state of Iowa.
But here in Iowa, we've got a situation where whether it's folks that are working on domestic violence and sexual abuse, long established programs, but they're looking at how do we now start working on human trafficking here in Iowa, and they're doing it in partnership with the police and with the Attorney General's office. So it really is a good model for the world.
As these groups work to raise awareness, train law enforcement to spot trafficking, and help victims, a trend is developing.
And I think that's one of the reasons why we're frankly seeing more cases of human trafficking coming out in Iowa, is that people are looking for it in a different and better way.
But Ambassador C. DeBaca says there is still much to be done, starting in our own homes.
Nobody is exempt from human trafficking. We buy shrimp from Thailand. We eat chocolate from Africa. We wear clothes with cotton picked by child slaves in Uzbekistan. Human trafficking is not just in our backyard, it's in our home. But which also means that every one of us in Iowa have an opportunity and the ability to make a difference.
So you may be wondering how you can do that. Well, the ambassador says the best way to give back is by volunteering using your own talents based on your profession. For example, someone in the medical field can volunteer to give medical services to trafficking victims, or someone who works in the financial sector can help victims learn to balance their checkbooks. Those are skills that some victims never had to develop in their former lives.